Minecraft and LEGO has collaborated countless of times to make a lot of cool LEGO sets, which all of these LEGO sets are based off of Minecraft builds, but I was wondering, what if you tried to build a LEGO set back into Minecraft, and how accurate are the LEGO sets? The LEGO set we'll be building in this video is the Windmill Farm, or set 21262. Which has a cool play feature where you can actually spin the windmill. Of course, you can't do that in Minecraft, and some things will be pretty hard to build. So let's build it. Okay, so we can infer that basically a 2x2 brick area is probably going to be one block. So looking at the LEGO set, we can basically make this type of outline. So we'll be using wool first, so we get an idea of how big it will be and what blocks we'll need. So of course, first we'll need the pillars, which are going to be gray. And just looking a bit more closely into the set, there's some pretty interesting things. So first, these brown pieces, we can guess that these are probably fences. And as you can see, there are 4 blocks in the middle. And looking at some of the other stuff, we can see that there's some cake, which of course is again 1 block. So we can definitely confirm that a 2x2 area is going to be 1 block. So we have a milk bucket, some bread. I think that's going to be a composter bin. And of course, back here is a crank which you can turn to move the windmill, which of course you can't do in Minecraft unless you're playing the create mod. So now here's where things get tricky. As you can see, there is this type of wall which looks like some sort of sandstone type of thing, and then we have fences, but the thing is these are not connecting, and these sort of look like vertical slabs, which we of course don't have. Now we can finally start adding the actual blocks that will be used. So first, of course, the fences, which actually look pretty accurate to the actual LEGO set. Then we can add this side area where the cake is going to be. And for these, I think that sandstone walls and mud walls actually do a great job. So now here's where things get a bit tricky. The roof. As you can see, the roof will be looking like this. And we can use mangrove, which we don't have concrete stairs. We can use mangrove to make it look a bit better. But here's where things get tricky. Here, the sizing of the LEGO is a bit weird. As you can see, the back looks pretty good, as you can have this crank. Up here, we have 5 blocks. But down here, we have only 4 blocks. And one of the blocks up on the roof is sort of on 2 different blocks. So as you can see, 5 up here, but 4 down here. So this is quite literally impossible to make in actual Minecraft, unless you're using a mod. Over here, of course, it's 4 blocks, and that area is pretty easy to make. But it gets quite tricky with that roof. So going up, we can basically say these are all 4 blocks, but then all of a sudden it turns into 5 blocks. So after trying to change the design a little bit, it will look pretty weird because the windmill will have to be a bit bigger and a bit weird. This was pretty hard to build, but I think we can do better. So now we just have to recreate the design, but instead of making the front 4 blocks, we'll make it 5 blocks. So we can make it a bit more equal and actually build it properly. So let's do this. So first we're putting in the pillars, of course. We're using some cobblestone and some stone. Then we add the fences, and then we add the area that the cake is going to be on. And we can use a mod to make it actually look like the bread is just sitting there, which is the invisible item frames mod. So adding the composter bin and adding the roof, which the roof was a little bit hard because the only type of stair that's red is mangrove stairs, and it's not as vibrant, but I think it still works. Now adding the middle area, and now adding the roof in the rest of the area. So now actually getting onto the second floor, we can add these fences, of course. And already I think it's looking better. So of course, we add the sandstone, which instead of being 2 blocks wide, we're going to turn it into 3 blocks, so it's a bit more accurate. Okay, so now working on the roof again, of course, which was the tricky part. I originally put mangrove stairs as the roof design, but later on I decided that I think actually mangrove blocks would make it look a bit more like the LEGO. The roof looks a bit more like blocks instead of stairs, as you can see. I think this overall looks a bit better. So actually building the windmill now, we can connect the middle part up to the top, and we can add quartz stairs, which of course doesn't match with the wool because there's no wool stairs, but it still works good. Now moving on to the next part, the farm area. There's some pretty hard things like the trees and the sunflowers, but we'll get to that. So as we can see that there's sugarcane. I believe that's probably beetroot, and some seeds and carrots. And then we have a hay bale, torch, and a loom. And of course, this type of tree doesn't grow in Minecraft, but we can see that it's a birch tree with added things on it. So starting to build the area, we can add the farmland and start the wall. As you can see, the wall is a mixture of stone and a little bit of just stone walls. Adding in all the seeds and carrots. Now the sunflower part was a little bit hard to do because it was facing the wrong direction. So I had to rotate the whole entire build so that it would be facing in the correct direction. But that wasn't too hard. So now we can add the loom, the other walls, and of course the torch. Now adding in the birch tree, which the birch log will be the stem for this tree. Now we have to change the leaf. I did come up with a different design that looks basically as accurate as I could to the actual tree, but I think it does look sort of a bit weird. So if we fully get rid of the leaves on the actual birch tree and replace them with types of wool and concrete powder, I think it's a bit better and a bit more accurate to how Minecraft trees actually look. While the tree doesn't look 100%, I think that is the best we could get it. So this is the finished build. There are actually a few more things that we have to add, like a milk bucket on the side, and there are the Lego sheeps for orange and yellow, which we can actually add, and if we do /tick freeze, we can make them stop and make it look as accurate to the Minecraft Lego set as possible. So just looking back at the first version, I think there's definitely a lot of areas improvements that we made, and looking at the final version, I think we made it pretty good. So here's the full time lapse of the build. So finally comparing it, we can see that of course a lot of things were done pretty accurate, but things like the tree were pretty hard to make. So we have this composter bin, this middle area, and of course the thing at the back. So looking at it one last time, I think it's actually a pretty good build, and I think there are some things that we could improve on, definitely like the tree and some other small things, but I think it's really close to the actual Minecraft Lego set. And while the Minecraft Lego set wasn't 100% accurate, I think it is a very well designed set and really easy to put into Minecraft. So let us know, do you want to see more videos like this of us making more Lego sets into Minecraft? And make sure to subscribe to help us reach 5K.